Good morning, it's Mike. And I went out, I was going to do it, it was too dark, and it started to rain. Well, it's always too dark when there's clouds and stuff out there, and I tried to upload something to my diabetes, Mike's Diabetes World, and it didn't work. So today I'm going to do my chat on this while the other one is loading. It still shows, I don't know if you can see, no you can't, it's just too much glare. But the other one's still sitting there, and the second one is uploading, so we'll see what happens from it. It's rainy, and I think we're in for 4 days of downpours here, so it should be fun. Hopefully I will be able to go to my coffee on Saturday, but it could be a lot of chatting from here. So sit back, grab your coffee, and we'll have our little chat. We'll talk to you in a moment. Bye. Okay, so they've named the Blue Jay fan, who actually I think worked for Post Media, who threw a beer out onto the outfield while the The Baltimore Orioles were in the outfield. Now this caused major uproars in the sporting field, and you know what? Whatever happened to good sportsmanship? Doesn't necessarily have to be the players, it can also be the fans. And we're not really doing that anymore, you know? The trash talk that goes on, just take a look at, before any championship games. You don't, you don't want to be pushing for the other team all the way through. But on the other hand, now it's just got so severe and stupid that, we keep doing this, and enough is enough. I am sorry, but enough is enough that people are getting fed up with these actions. And, I mean, you could go back to, I think, either 1992 or 1993, World Series, and I think it was down in the States. I can't remember. I know Toronto was playing someone, and I can't remember, but they brought out the Canadian flag, I think Marines were carrying it, and it was upside down. And of course, everyone up here got into a huge rigmarole, and sporting has become so political. Look at Canada's gold medal performance in the 1990 or 1988 Olympics. No, last Salt Lake Olympics, where they had to turn around and give a secondary medal to Canada because there were people playing around and making sure that the Canadians did not win. Now, let me put a disclaimer here. I am a Canadian. But still, it just shows that if you work hard and you get to the Olympics, somebody can just screw you around and you can lose out everything. And if someone had not come through and said, well, this was really happening and this was really happening, people would still have gone out and the Russians would have left with the gold medal. Well, they still got a gold medal. But Canada would have been left with their bronze. And, why are we have so much money tied in? You know how much it is? Like, no kid can now go to a World Series or any other game because it's too damn expensive. And then you get the scalpers out there. And the scalpers want so much money. And the players want to make millions and millions. Well, you know what? Enough is enough. And I think we really have to take a look and come up with a better way to do things. I don't think, $500 to go see the Stanley Cup playoff, or, it's all the people who have the money and who can make more money, and this ticket scalpers just charge ridiculously prices, and, the ticket agents make millions and everyone makes millions, but no one can really afford to go see the shows. It's all the people who have money. And, they necessarily don't make, I'm not saying all, but they don't necessarily make the money honestly. So, it's something really to think about, that our sportsmanship has gone out the window because it all has to do with money. Just something, you really have to think about nowadays. And maybe it's time to go back to the fields and watch the kids play. It's a less expensive. Something to think about. Okay. A mentally ill and not mentally disturbed or woman tried to snap a child from a mother's arms. For whatever reason, she may have lost her child. That we aren't sure of. But, years ago, people are saying, well, we didn't have all this trouble with mentally ill people. Well, of course you didn't have all these trouble with mentally ill people because you locked them up. And I'm definitely not saying that is something we want to do, but we need to find treatment. And if those who need hospitalization can get the treatment they need, but also people who are out and about that need treatment should be able to get it. People are waiting to the last minute trying to get help before they try killing themselves. The only way they can get help is if they try to commit suicide. It's not enough. The healthcare, we're an aging population, and we need to concentrate on upgrading our hospitals for both mental illness and for regular illness. It's important to remember that mental illness is just like, you have cancer. But what happens with the people who get cancer? Everyone gets their sympathy. But on the other hand, if you say, I've got mental illness, I'm sorry, we can't have you working here. Or, yes, you've taken so-and-so to a basketball game. Well, I think until you're stable, we really can't allow you to do this. And, it's being shunned into the background for years. And, every other type of illness we have is, okay, well, you're sick, all right. But, even if somebody has to take time off work because they have a mental illness, a lot of people don't want to tell anyone while they were off, and, a lot of people come and get very upset. Why were you off? And I've told this story before, but I think it is worth repeating. A friend of mine who worked at a bank, and we won't mention the name of the bank. However, this friend had to take time off for mental illness. And he took the time off, and then someone saw him at the gym. Well, he was out on a pass, and working on your body builds the self-esteem which he needed to build up. However, it got back to the boss, and the boss kept even phoning him at the hospital, demanding he sign himself out and came to work. Well, what kind of stress is that putting on the patient? I think that we are really not handling it very well. We need to be able to, if someone's off with mental illness, you've got to be able to say, oh, okay, well, how long do you need? And don't, or oh my God, the rumors start, he's off with mental illness, he's off with mental illness. So what? If they're off with mental illness, they're off with mental illness. It's not a big secret. But we have made it that way, and we have made people feel that mental illness is a stigma that you will carry for the rest of your life. Even if you get over it and you live till the end of your life, oh, well, I don't think he deserves a promotion. He was hospitalized once for mental illness. However, if you're, let's say, a warehouse worker, and the position of warehouse manager comes up, and you've had an appendicitis, they don't go, oh, I don't think he's, ready. He's had an appendicitis, once. I don't think he's ready. Does anyone else see the implications of that? We need to ensure that everyone can get the help they need when they need it without being stigmatized. And, if you know someone who is mentally ill and they have to take time off work and you're in a position, give them the time off work. Let them get better and come back to work. I'm sure they're going to come back in a much better position than when they left. But, it's going to take an awful lot of changing. And I think we've got to start talking about it. So often, people were always locked up, and it was a dark, dingy place. And, sometimes the treatment for someone who has mental illness is different than a person who, has cancer or, a skin condition or whatever. But we don't look at that. And we need to take a look at that and treat people with respect that everybody needs. There is no difference. And I don't care if it's mental illness, well, I do care. But I don't care if it's AIDS. The big AIDS scare has gone, and it's a lot easier to get treatment now. People live longer lives. But, we still live with our little stigmatisms, and it's time to stop it. More and more police are under review, and I don't know why anyone from where I stand, why anybody would like to go and become a police officer. Because every time you try to arrest, oh, you've done something wrong, and they pick at you, and, it was kind of nice that the police in Boston, after that terrorist attack they had, were actually clapped as, the suspect was captured and they drove off. But, so often again, it's the where we place people. For years, police were on a pedestal and, You had to say yes, sir, no, sir. And we were taught that the police were friendly and the police could do no wrong. However, we've seen internal strifes. We've seen down in the States where police can, how do you say it, pick on a certain race. We've seen up here in Canada where there's sexual harassment going on. And, I think we've got to remember people are police and police are people. I'm not saying that, what they've done is correct or it isn't correct, but we've got to be mindful of what's going on here. And I think we have to have better oversight by police. I think that maybe we need more of a civil body overseeing police. And then the police say, well, they don't know if that will work because they don't know what an average police officer goes through. Well, the police overseeing each other hasn't really worked, and in BC, one police agency can investigate another police agency, but it's all a brotherhood. How many people have been fired from one police agency and go, or maybe quit, I don't know, but then go under trouble and then go work at another police agency? This is evident in the States, and it's evident here in Canada. We need to ensure that a police, if they have done something wrong, are held accountable for it. And, I think they would follow the rules if, it came true and it was proven that a demotion in pay or in rank. I think that would bring out an awful lot of people who would say, oh, I'm going to lose, I might as well follow the rules. Now, if we keep doing that, it's going to be easier to say, oh, well, the police are guilty, I'm going to... And I think that's a possibility of what's happening in the States right now. I think the police are so afraid of arresting a person of the black race. Well, we're all a member of the human race, so I don't know if somebody knows the proper phrase. Put it down below, please. I'd like to use the most phrase. But, what happens if someone who is black commits a crime? Do we just turn our backs to it? But now go after every white person who commits a crime? That doesn't seem like an even fair job either. But I think we have to come up with a way that everybody is treated fair. I don't care if you're black, white, red, yellow, orange. It's important to remember that we're all humans. And, whether you're a police officer, put an authority over people, or, your sportsmanship, everything comes into play. And you must be the best. Get out there, be the best that you can be, follow the rules, and who knows, we might get along better. You don't want to be sexist. You don't want, all of this comes into play. But we need to ensure that people learn how to live with one another. Something to think about. Have a great day. Bye now. You know, today we have met some interesting thing. We've talked about racism, we've talked about sexism, we've talked about sportsmanship. So, it's just, I really want you guys to take heed to this. And these are all my views. They're not the views of someone else out there. But you know what? Sorry. You know what? If we all get out there and do our best, the world would be a much better place. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.